Roles of a denizen. Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
Hey, what's up, denizens? So we got a DENDAO call. It's Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is when we do this every week. And as always, there is a link at the top of the agenda where you can join. It's that StreamYard link right up there. And the agenda is in the DENDAO layer on Den.Social. So welcome to this week's DENDAO call. It's just going to be me, and it's probably just going to be housekeeping. Give some updates. Unless somebody has some feedback or some questions that they want to throw into the mix, you're welcome to do so by either chiming in to chat. If you're on like YouTube or something, you can chime in there. If you don't want to join, of course, you can just join and ask. Or you can leave a reply to the agenda, and we'll just refresh the page before we close out to make sure that there's nothing that's come in since we started the call. So let's get on with it. All right, so it's March 30th, so this is the last DENDAO call for March. And with that, we've got new layers that we've already announced which ones won, but now they're live. So those are available on Den now. Let's check them out. We've got the LCP created military equipment was one of them. I've already, what is that? That's from me. What does that say? Enable video post. Yeah. So military equipment. I've got some plans for that. I used to be in the military for like 10 years. So I'll talk about some of the equipment that I used to primarily maintain. I don't have a lot of outlets for that, so that'll be great. Not a lot of people want to hear me sit around and talk about Tomahawk cruise missiles anymore. So if you're interested in that, actually, you should already be subscribed. Everybody should be subscribed to the new layers, because that was actually a DENDAO decision made not too long ago. If you have any experience with it, go talk about it over in the military equipment layer. Next up, we've got Change My View. We had a little game today at the end of World Blockchain Roundtable. It was a Change My View inspired game. It was literally like an amazing view from the Amazing View layer. And everybody got to guess what it was. It was cool. So if you didn't see World Blockchain Roundtable today, it was about climate and how blockchain can help us with climate initiatives, environmental things, reduction of pollution, things like that. We talked about accountability and blockchain-y things. Check it out. We had a Twitter Spaces afterwards. We've started doing the current events after that. And we had a small issue with the audio, I think. So go listen back on it and see if you have any issues with it or if it was just some people. But anyway, Change My Views up. And as John put it, this is a place where you can go share your opinion and get a bunch of people telling you about why you're wrong. That's kind of the point. So go see if you can be convinced that your opinion shouldn't be your opinion. Maybe you can go get your view changed. Next up, we've got the Umbrella Promise. This one impressed me with how quickly it got voted in. This was, I just started hearing about it recently, as recently as like a month ago. There's the white paper, at least the draft, it was published in, I believe, the politics layer. And there's a website now where people can go read up about the umbrella promise. And now we have a forum, a place to collaborate, a place to plan. And I fully intend to use this as much as we're able to, as much as we can get. You know what? That's the wrong way of putting it. I'm going to flex it and use it for whatever it can be used for. Den's got some cool tools that has not been used for something like this before, so I'm excited about using it for it. I am even talking about registering a political PAC to go along with this, so it should be cool. I want to see us get a politician, or even like, I don't care if we have to start with a homeowners association just to go through the motions to make sure it works. I think this is cool, and we should have a DAO directed representative that uses this tech. It'll be fun to see how that goes. So go support that. I strongly support you supporting that. So there's our 3 layers. They're all live, and you can go layer it up. Now we have in the Den layer, I put out, was it last night? Was it Tuesday night? Not too long ago. I put out an update for the leaderboard and metrics and stuff like that. I have been putting this in like different posts for reasons. But I threw it all into one post. There's a little bit of a formatting error. The table runs off the right side. I don't think the 365-day column is as interesting anyway. I can stack those up next time so it doesn't appear like that. But hey, we were just talking about umbrella. Speaking of.
I'm sorry I'm late.
No, that's all right. I was just saying that we're going to flex the umbrella DAO and,
Nice.
and actually use it for stuff like putting a representative in place, like do the thing,
Do the
that's
thing.
cool.
That's right.
But so yeah, you didn't miss much. That's fine. We talked about military equipment, change my view, and umbrella promise being the 3 new layers, and they're all live now. So now you're caught up.
Cool.
So leaderboard updates. I made all the names clickable this time, which I thought was a neat trick.
Nice.
Eventually, the intent is for this to be integrated into the existing metrics page where you go look at your payouts and stuff, so you can see site-wide metrics and leaderboards in there. And then it can be updated every time you look at it. It can be the most up to date. Right now, I'm just doing it once a week to get the numbers updated and put it out there, while we get the actual connections made for the front end for the metrics page.
Automated.
Yeah, right. So there's some new names that were up there since last time. I saw Monica with Hacker Noon was up there. Right there. And I've noticed, of course, we have the Hacker Noon layer where they actually have an RSS feed that automatically posts their original content, but like a summary of it to the layer with an eternal link and also a link to the full article, which is super neat. But I've also seen them going out of their way to post articles in specific layers where it's relevant. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but I have noticed that, which makes sense because now Monica with Hacker Noon is up on the leaderboard, meaning that's been accepted pretty well, I guess, because if she's earned matter from it or they've earned matter from it, then that should mean that they've been getting upvoted enough and that they should keep doing what they're doing. So keep on keeping on. Excuse me. So congrats to all those people. What else we got? Different categories. So there's evaluators, which there's an explanation on how that's calculated up there. We still have, by even a larger margin, Robin Claes, who is killing it with both positive and negative votes.
I will say so. I mean, that is I don't want to take away from anything here, but it's such a significant lead.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's concerning.
I don't disagree. I got to go back and look at it. I've looked into it once already because I had the same thought. Last time I published this, I was like, why is that? That's a lot more.
And I don't want to take away anything. It's just knowledge and experience, shall we say, then when you see
it jumps out at you, right?
Ahead, it usually is either, not all the time, but
well, there might be a bug, right? There literally could. I'm not assuming that Robin's doing anything. My assumption,
I'm not either.
Yeah, my assumption is there could be a problem with the way that I'm doing the leaderboard, right? The way that I'm calculating it, that could be an issue. So
And
that's
I
what I got to
hope
look into.
it's none of that. And
Mhm.
Robin, class
Yeah.
is just doing an amazing job and could
I,
probably teach a class on
well, I'll
this.
put it this way, man. I looked into it enough to actually throw up that data onto a graph, like a chart, to
Mhm.
look at the relative, like, in consensus versus against consensus on both positive upvotes and down votes. So four bars, if you will, right? And it was like almost even. Like they nailed it. They're almost always in consensus, and whether it's positive or negative. And what I think, assuming I'm not making a mistake in the calculation, what it must be is that almost nobody else is voting uh, evenly as far as like upvote and downvote. Most people are still only upvoting things, right? Now,
Okay.
everybody in this list has at least a 1-to-8 ratio of upvotes to downvotes, or
Okay.
8-to-1. So to get on this list, you have to at least be balanced enough in your raw votes, whether or not it's in consensus. You have to at least be balanced enough to where you either have one downvote to every upvote, or one upvote to every downvote. You got to at least be that balanced, which is pretty forgiving, I think.
Yeah.
But Robin is like almost like the ratio is so tight. You know what I mean? So I have looked into it, and so it's probably, if there's a mistake, I would say it's on my end. I got to go look at the code and see what happened.
It could be just a
But
case where
they could
if
just be voting on every freaking thing too, though. I don't know.
yeah, or saying, okay, I'm going to, I have 1,000 energy, and I'm going to spend 500 energy downvoting and 500 energy upvoting. I don't know.
Well, the way that you make that is so the calculation is done by it's based on your evaluator reputation. That in itself is based on stuff like different behaviors we've seen in the past
Mm-hmm.
that we were able to account for. Like, for example, targeting one person or across a whole bunch of layers, just to, when you should just be blocking that person, or marking it as spam or something like that. If you're doing that, or if you're like part of some sort of like obvious coordinated, like I'm going to downvote everybody except my own, or like my 3 friends or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing stuff like that, that'll reduce your evaluator reputation. So there's that, and that's one. Evaluator reputation is one component. And then there's, like I said, the balance of up and down votes. This is the 1-to-8 ratio I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Separately from that, because that doesn't care about consensus. That just cares about literally how many times are you doing each. There's the ratio then of separately. There's the ratio of with consensus versus against consensus. How many times, like what's that ratio look like? That's a component. And then the last one is just the raw number of with consensus votes that you have. That doesn't care if they're up or down. It's just how many times were you correct when it comes to being in consensus. And in the context here, correct means the crowd agreed with you. Consensus was in the direction that you voted, right? So that's just an explanation on how the scoring's done.
Good.
Hello, Hyperion Frequency, and will not eat them here or there. Hello, Dr. Seuss. I'll get to your question in a minute. So then we've got top taggers is the next category. There's 2 types of taggers. There's the people who tag something initially with this could simply be the original tag, for example. So if you put up a bunch of original content and you tag yourself as original, and everybody else comes along, or the majority of everyone else comes along and agrees with that tag, yep, that's original, then boom, you get a credit for that. So but that could be anything. It could be like the category of music that it is, the rock tag in the music layer, or the whatever tag there is, type of food, Chinese food in the food layer, right? The initial tagger. And then there's the people that vote on those tags as a separate category, right? Maybe you didn't pick the tag, but you voted on it. And you were right. You were in consensus, basically, because the tags work similar way. And then the third one is a combined score, because you might not be in the top 10 in each of those, but your combined score might be in the top 10. So that's what those are. You can go check that out. The next one is just, the next section is just like some various metrics for Den itself, not, excuse me, necessarily associated with a particular denizen, just Den itself. One thing I wanted to point out here. So we have new posts, yesterday, this week, last month, like different intervals. And then we've got new accounts this year, last month, this month. When I was writing this, I noticed, I was like, oh, there's like half as many accounts this month as there were last month. That's interesting.
Right.
New signups.
Heard you talking about this on Coffee with Den.
Yeah. And then like earlier this week, we discovered, oh, wait, we actually forgot when we switched over and put the new login system, we actually forgot to include a way to sign up if you don't already have an account when we switched over. So we finally, somebody pointed that out from the community. Thank you very much. And so that's fixed now. You can sign up for a new account, but that's a pretty important like omission. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's probably why like one of the reasons anyway. Maybe people weren't signing up as much anyway, but we don't know whether it was that or whether it was the bug.
Cool.
For signing up. So that's fixed now, but it's worth mentioning just for transparency. Yep, that happened. And then layer activity.
No, there is no way to cancel an account at this point. So new accounts as of this year, this is year to date, correct? Or
this year is year to date. Yes. Yeah. I actually almost put
should change YTD. That to year to date.
Okay. I actually did have it as YTD, but I didn't know if everybody understood what YTD meant.
Yeah.
I could just say year to date, I guess. But yeah, it's this year, it's 2023. It's this year.
So we don't have a retention rate at this point. Is where I'm going is because we don't have a way to cancel account or an account to say I don't want.
Well, you can cancel an account. You just have to email support to say, hey, cancel my account. There's not like an easy button for it.
Right. That's my thing.
Yeah, I guess retention. That's a good point. Maybe that's something I can work on next. Anyway, is coming up with a way to gauge activity to say, like even if it's not the raw number, just to say what's the percentage difference of active users from this month versus last month or something like that. We could come up with some kind of scoring.
Yeah,
that would be pretty good.
It would be really critical. I would love to see that upward trend. If anyone's, let's think of another way.
Well, what would that real quick though? What would that look at? Like, just like, is just logging in enough?
Sure. Or logging in is
any sort of heartbeat. You voted one time.
Any sort of heartbeat.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
A login is a heartbeat.
Gotcha.
And even if it was just one heartbeat. Someone logged in just for 30 seconds. Do I have any notifications? No, I don't. And
gotcha.
Out. So I think that's a critical. And if someone down the road is looking to evaluate, hey, I want to go out and buy MTR, and they want to look at.
They could look at to see what the relative.
Look at activity rates. Is activity climbing? Is it decreasing?
All right. Yeah, that should be. I got to come up with I got to figure out which data points to hit, but that should be pretty straightforward once I get into it, looking at seeing what that is. But yeah, I'll do that.
Super. I would really appreciate that. I think that was in my original suggestion or proposal for.
I think it was too. I think I just got bogged down on doing all this other stuff and then
completely
haven't got that one.
Completely understandable. Nice.
Cool.
You went above and beyond other things that I never thought of, and I really appreciate that. I know the community as a whole is so. I
think it's neat.
Chat activity. I think this is going to go way, way up eventually.
Well, yeah, the chat rooms, the layer chat activity, they're severely underused. Like the reason the Dragon Chain is up there is because that's where that's kind of the only layer where there's like a bunch of people talking, even though it's kind of. I don't know. Weird to see what people are trying to talk about. Sometimes it's all negative. I don't know. But it is a chat room with activity.
Yeah, there's no search function in chat activity yet, is there? Or DM?
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, down the road. Just something to think of. Okay, cool.
So Dragon Chain, cryptocurrency, marketing strategy. So if you hop into the marketing strategy chat room, you can leave a note with a timestamp from a video that you think we should cut a clip from. If you think there's like, hey, there's like a 30, 60 second part here that would make a good sound bite or a clip, let us know. And I'm
Outstanding.
starting to like cut those out, that kind of thing.
That was
'Cause those
Hyperion
can be shared around.
Frequency, right? Kudos to him
Mhm.
for suggesting that. That's great. And that's a
Yep.
perfect place for it. Marketing
Yep.
strategy by Denizens.
Yeah, we met up on I think Friday to talk about that.
Nice.
So I've got some homework to still do. I've got a couple of clips to cut still, but I think I got time tomorrow to do it. So do that, and then Den and GNU Linux and DM activity without caring who's sending the DMs. We can see how many DMs were sent. So that's the next one. We've got this month, last month, and this year overall. And then let's scroll down some more. What else we got here? So there is, oh yeah, and of course the valuations for the different lot ranked by total matter earned. On the right-hand column is how it's ranked. So you can see which ones have the most. Basically, this is showing where the most energy is being spent, if you want to look at it that way, right? Because if you consider this is the past 90 days, I think is what I picked.
Right.
And if you consider that there's 1,000 matter per day that goes out, all of these combined should account for something like, I think it's either 5 or 10% of that 90,000 matter that was mined, right? Because the lot holders get a cut of that, whatever the white paper says. So yeah, there's your rankings: photography, conspiracy theories, politics, random,
Nice.
amazing views, creature comforts, cryptocurrency, dragon chain, red pills, trading lounge, memes, history, spirituality, and world blockchain roundtable are just the first, like the top ones there. Not sure how many I just counted off, but there's the top that many. Cool. So I think that's the last thing in there. Let's scroll down and see if I forgot something, but I think that's the last one. But that's all the layers. So yeah, cool. That is what I wanted to update today. So like I said earlier, a little bit of just kind of housekeeping, not a bunch of stuff to talk about. There is a question in chat. So let's see. Given the high transaction fees on Ethereum, how feasible would it be to distribute rewards on L2 chains like Polygon, Arbitrum, etc., and partially transferring existing LP and or incentivizing LP activities? I mean, it's feasible. I don't know if there's really a reason to do it because we already distribute them on a zero fee chain. Den is its own blockchain, and we functionally operate as a layer 2. Like, it's not like a blockchain that you might think of as a layer 2, right? But we are interoperable with Ethereum. The question about LP on Uniswap, I mean, there's not a lot of people using it anyway. I don't know if more people would use it if it was on Polygon.
Yeah.
It's like $6 to make a trade or something like that right now, which is not as cheap as it could be, but it ain't $1,000 like it once was.
Well,
you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This has been a pet peeve of mine as well. As you know, I think I had been raising this 6-8 months ago and was hard pressed to hopefully that we would go down the Polygon route. Because if it was going to be a post to earn, evaluate to earn platform, we need ability, and like I had said in the past, I would like to see where we had individuals maybe in third world countries who making just even $1 made a difference in their lives to be able to participate in something like DIN and to be able to add income to their family by using DIN. But then the Ethereum would cancels all of that out. So
I can see that
Polygon
being able to cash out smaller increments kind of thing.
Right.
So
so that was a big push for me, was for us to see Polygon, as a maybe internally in DIN, we could exchange MTR for um, you know, there was some kind of 1-to-1 ratio of Polygon to um, Ethereum that was within the smart contract of some sort, or work out the mechanics. I don't remember exactly how, but so then that way an off ramp from DIN would be an MTR that was linked to Polygon of some sort.
Yeah, I've got two main thoughts on that.
And I think this is where this individual is going, and I've been down this road before, and I support where what he or she's thinking.
So I would support it. I would even put, like, personally, I would even put some liquidity on Polygon, for example. If we did that, I think it's a lot simpler than you might think of it being, or less confusing anyway. Maybe not simple, but less confusing. It would be the same token. It would be Matter. It wouldn't be like Polygon Matter or Matter also, or something that's a 1-for-1 ratio or any of that. We would literally just put Matter on Polygon. And we can do that because of the interoperability we have with being built on Dragon Chain. We can put the same token just on Polygon, right? And it doesn't increase the supply of Matter. It just lets you withdraw your tokens to Polygon instead of withdrawing them out to Ethereum. So we don't actually have to create a second token at all to do that.
That blows my mind. Now you're talking interoperability that I was not aware. I know that Dragon Chain was that, but I still can't see how Matter can exist on Polygon and Ethereum.
It would have
Matter E and Matter P.
Yeah, I mean, so like you could call it that if you wanted to differentiate it, but I don't think there's a reason to differentiate it, because if you're on Polygon using Matter, you're on Polygon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your Polygon address is the same as your Ethereum address. You'd use the same wallet. You would just switch between networks. And as far as DEN side, the way that works, like if you look at the way that the contracts are set up for DEN and on Ethereum and stuff with that interoperability contract, you have essentially, you can think of it as you have a deposit withdraw contract pool on Ethereum,
right?
And whenever you are withdrawing from DEN to your wallet your address that you have claimed on DEN, what you're doing is you're signaling, you're signing a message with your private key from your wallet. You're signaling from DEN, hey, Ethereum pool of Matter, send this much Matter that you have in your Ethereum pool to this wallet, right? So you're saying, I want to take it out of DEN, I want to put it over in Ethereum, I want to export it. So it moves your balance from DEN out to your private wallet through this Ethereum contract. And the Ethereum contract is just looking for DEN's signature along with your signature to validate that, yes, these are your tokens. These are it's a fungible, so it doesn't have to literally be your NFT tokens. We don't have to worry about that. But because it's a fungible, you can say, yeah, you have this many, a Matter is a Matter, that's fine. And then if we added Polygon to that, what that would, I would say, look like would be just a selection in the wallet, in your DEN wallet, that says what network do you want to export it to? Because we can send Matter to Polygon, we can send it to Binance Smart Chain, feasibly, like whatever.
Did not know
but
that.
We would just have, basically, we would have the same thing set up over on Polygon, where you would have Matter that was in that pool now, right?
If I'm not mistaken, I know we put it up for discussion, but I don't know if it ever actually made it over as a proposal on the DENDAO. This very topic.
I don't know if it was or not, but
I don't think it made it as a proposal. But
if it did make it, it would have gone into the prioritization list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think it's there on the prioritization.
Yeah.
No, it didn't pass.
If not,
it didn't pass. Or no, maybe it never went as a proposal.
If it went to a proposal, it probably passed. And if it did, it would be in the prioritization pool, like roadmap thing. Right now, we're bogged down, development-wise. Like we need more dev resources so we're kind of extremely slow on DEN right now. It's,
I know.
It's just bullshit. Yeah. There's so many things right now that are distracting from what we should be doing. But but that's the way it is. The other thing that I'll say is that even if we did that, what we need to make that work is to have, here's what I'm saying. I'm not interested in talking about speculative markets, right? At least not in this context.
Mm-hmm.
So what literally we need is things like people purchasing a private or a layer, a custom layer outside of the LCP process, and doing that with Matter so that they buy Matter to buy their layer. Other things, building up enough, bringing in new users on Den to where there's enough denizens to where, Den doesn't have advertising, at least not in the traditional sense. What we have is boosted posts. So bringing in like enough of an audience that somebody might want to advertise their work or their product or their thing to. And the only way to do that is to spend Matter on boosting it, which would feasibly mean, or like theoretically mean, going to buy Matter to bring it into Den to use that. And the more of that type stuff, which is the other end of this economy that's imbalanced right now, the more we have that, the more liquidity there'll be for people to then exit in, like you're talking about, countries where a dollar will stretch further, where they can make a little bit of scratch on Den and then take it out and cash it out to Ether or something, right? Mm-hmm. You need both sides of that. And right now we have an imbalanced utility economy because Den, well, for reasons, but for one of them is that Den is designed to work massively better at scale than at than not at scale, I guess, right? So what does all that mean? If you go look at the liquidity pool over on Uniswap right now, you can only sell so much Matter before there's no more liquidity left to sell into. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have the same thing on Polygon, right?
Right.
And the only thing that would be different about that would be if there was this like speculative market in that Polygon DEX that wasn't in the Uniswap DEX. But that's so far away from what I'm like wanting to like even talk about right now, because partially because of everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we're not even allowed to talk about that because we're in the US. So it's not part of the plan or the model. It can exist, but it's not what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So what my focus kind of is on bringing that real utility balance so that there's an organic balance to that market, not an artificial speculative one, but an organic utility-based balance to that. And the only way we're going to do that is if we bring more people and have more people and make Den bring more adoption. And I guess I'll just say one more thing about that. I'm not just hoping for that. I am actually trying to do that. And so if anybody wants to help me with that, I have some ideas and some plans. For example, it's not like 100% solved yet on how to actually do it. But T-Swift and John and I, T-Swift or Die on Den, we are going to run a beta of something that's been discussed in the past, but hasn't been developed in a way that I'm talking in circles. So personal lot, where somebody can do like, instead of a layer being the only way to have lot, you could actually have lot in someone's account. We're going to do that with John, and we're going to basically bring in a professional writer to create content on Den, right? And we can kind of direct his creative energy to say, okay, put some content here, here, and here, and then we can share that to other networks and things like that. It's one idea. There's Hyperion Frequency says your city. I don't know what that means, but yeah, your city. Get your city to use Den.
I think he's referring to the idea of you guys creating your own city.
But yeah, it's complicated, right? Right. So that's the thing with Matter and the liquidity and like onboarding more people and all that stuff. It's a little bit of a cold start problem that I think everyone experiences. But it's also like not necessarily the only thing that DEN exists for, is the way I'll put it. Because even if the only value in matter is the designed, engineered utility value that you can use it for, which is generating energy to use so you can keep bots out by not letting like new accounts flood because they don't have enough energy. That's one of the main mechanisms, the reasons for it to exist, is so that if you do want to have like bots operating on it, it's going to be expensive for you. And so, yeah, somebody can go buy a bunch of matter and then give that to their bots so they have a bigger voice. But that also enriches the community, and you're buying matter on the open market, great. Like, not ideal, but it's a check against bots. It helps mitigate that. Right. It's used to generate lore, which you can then use to buy or vote for LCPs, right? So that you have lot. So in the beginning, when DEN is not at scale and you don't have this balanced secondary market, we have to sort of focus on what it really, really is, which is censorship resistance, a place to discuss, a place to freely have a conversation without needing to track people's personal information, without needing to sell that information to advertisers so they can target people, right? If it's a different model that we can use for that, I think, at least for me, like other people can focus on whatever they want, but for me, that's my focus, is here's what DEN is. And I support people focusing on other things, because that's also what we need, is people that care about different things focusing on that problem, right? So I would say,
yeah. And to this individual, cannot, will not eat. No, I'll just call you capital C. DM me and let's talk about this further, because you and I are probably on the same page, and we can talk about potentialities to making this happen.
Yep. And I don't know. I feel like I keep thinking of one more thing to say about it. But
I think you're probably talking about, or we're thinking of, the concern of everyone cashing out MTR.
Well, yeah, everybody can cash out MTR until you can't anymore.
Yeah.
So
kind of like the same thing that was happening with these play to earn.
Right. You saw that happen with Axie Infinity, for example.
Yeah, Axie
right?
Infinity. Mm-hmm.
And then you saw that people who weren't playing it to have fun with the game stopped playing it because they were like, oh, well, my cash cow's gone, that kind of thing. Right. I do think it's healthier to have people that are here for other reasons, primarily first. I think that probably does lay a better foundation than people that are, I don't want to call it fair weather denizens, because I love everyone, but kind of that, like that kind of thing. But I wanted to mention too, like a lot of this, DEN is a hybrid system, a hybrid centralized, decentralized platform, just like Dragon Chain, right? And although there is DENDAO, who does have the ability to like that's who's developing, that's who's bringing front end, back end changes, things like that. There's also this whole decentralized aspect of it too. And there's no reason that anybody can't take matter and open a liquidity pool on Polygon today by themselves, because Polygon itself has a bridge between Ethereum and Polygon, right? You can already bridge between them. So you could, now I haven't done this. I don't know how it would work. I would have to go look and see what the actual things are.
I screwed up a few times doing it,
but you tried it.
Yeah. But that was probably 8 months ago for me. So
was it with matter? Do you remember?
No. It was just moving, like Ethereum to Polygon.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I've had some issues too. Mine, I think, were more related to OpenSea, because I was doing it through them, through OpenSea's website. But you can bridge from Ethereum to Polygon already. And if you can do that, you can add matter to a Polygon DEX. Like, I don't see why not. So if that's an interest, if there's some people that want to just do it themselves, I can research that and tell you how it's done. And maybe I'll just do it myself to see how it's done as part of that research. And then once that's done, I can just point to the liquidity pool and say, here's where you can put it.
Yeah.
So those are all options. It's going to take longer for DEN to do it, just because we're
DEN is, I shouldn't say we, DENDAO,
DENDAO,
thank you, is embroiled in this issue with SEC. So
yeah, that's part of it. Part of it is part of it. Yeah.
Dragon Chain, the creator of.
Well, part of it's also that we're working on some stuff that is Den adjacent, that is a Dragon Chain thing, but it's actually using Den too, and that's something that's like we just don't talk about any of that right now.
Sure.
You know, that kind of thing.
But great question. Thanks for that chat.
But if you want to do it faster than what we're doing, I can help you learn how to do that, because that's the decentralization part. Because really, anybody can do that. Cool. So I don't know. I feel like I answered it awkwardly, but it was the best as I could, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think you did well.
All right.
We're on the same page.
I thought you were talking about you and the Hamlet. Yeah. So the Hamlet's a nice idea. John and I have this idea of basically like starting a small town, because that would be super cool, right? Because if you started a town today with today's technology, you could design it from the ground up. Governance, infrastructure, your electric bill, parking meters, anything could be designed from the ground up as like a smart city, blockchain city, token city, that kind of thing. So yeah, that'll be obviously we'll use Den for that. Yeah. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it'll be a Den thing when it does. All right, cool. So then we have I am due to recent votes. Oh, the anti-TikTok bill in Congress. We should look at and discuss this issue in future meetings, see how it could or couldn't impact Den. Yeah, I
wanted to record this on Den in the DENDAO for us to kind of put this on the agenda for next week, just for discussion. It has some pretty far-reaching and deep impact that could get ugly, and I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe or may not. It's very frightful. My son, my genius son, was the one that said, "Dad, I actually went and read the bill, and you got to look at this. This is some scary shit." And
yeah,
I heard. I was listening. I couldn't participate. There was no microphone for me to click on.
There's been issues. There's been issues with Spaces. I think it's an issue because last week we couldn't.
I wanted to add to it, but there was no microphone, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, you folks nailed it between on the Twitter Spaces about this issue and this concern, and then to my surprise, only one senator voted against it, which was Rand Paul.
Really?
So it had 99 votes, basically,
and a Rand ain't one. I was almost late to this meeting because I was talking to one of my neighbors about that particular thing, actually. And about Rand. I was actually talking about Ron Paul, and he was like, Rand? And I was like, no, Ron. Different Paul.
Different
but
Paul.
That's a good question. We can talk about it more next week. Right now, I'll just
things this is still, shall we say, in play in Congress. So we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, it's weird enough of a situation. It's not a
lot of, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but I do want it noted.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of it quite yet. It's so fresh, and I've only read the first half of it. But I've read enough, and I've read some summaries, and I've listened to some other conversations.
Right. And I'm only going off of what my son has sent me, and he sent me parts of the bill and highlighted different parts that are pretty freaking scary, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the language used to describe what they're trying to do is so freaking broad that it's like everything. It could apply
transaction
to anything.
And the fines, warrantless searches and seizures.
Yeah, it's
proof of you must prove your innocence. You're considered guilty first. There's so many.
Yeah, it's like it's an appointed group who talks in private about where to apply based on their opinion this rules. Like there's every opportunity to use an overly vague term has been used, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so this could apply to everything. This could apply to people that watches, like I said, this could apply to people that watch Netflix and they use a VPN to pretend like they're in Brazil so that they can watch the latest.
Right.
I don't know, like The Bachelor or something that they don't have access to in their country. And is that $1 million fine and 20 years of prison time for that? That's what the bill kind of looks like it says, right? So it's an issue, yeah. And so we're an American company.
It's ironic.
We're pay attention to.
Yeah, I said, how many of their 150 million users on TikTok are U.S. citizens and are also voters, or something? 50 million or something TikTok users in the U.S. And even if it was 1 million voters out of the 50 million TikTok users, how many of them would rise up and fight this?
Well,
they would fight it for TikTok, which is fine. I'll take them on as a frenemy.
Sure.
To fight this bill.
I think that's what would need to happen there, is that I'm a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to assuming that young people are going to vote. I feel like a lot of times they just tweet about it instead of voting about it.
Right.
But that's what they need to do. They need a viral TikTok video that says, hey, all of us are eligible to vote. And it looks like we need to. So let's do it. If they can do that to pump Dogecoin, and they can do that to buy fake Donald Trump tickets, then they can do that to fucking vote. So,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If TikTok's
Absolutely.
worth the shit, they can go do that.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I agree.
So
anyway, I just wanted this posted for the record, and maybe
I don't think it passed yet.
No, I don't think it has either. It's very fluid, so maybe we could put this on the agenda for next week.
It's really, I'm glad you brought it up, though, because it's important.
It will, if passed, I think could have an impact with Den.Social down the road if we get mass users from outside of the U.S. and inside the U.S. and posting various content. Who knows?
That's the reality of it. Now that you bring it up, is that it honestly isn't going to matter until we're big enough for them to say, oh, wait, we don't like them anymore. Let's go ahead and enforce this against them.
Right.
Selective enforcement. We've seen it already. But so, yeah, as of March 7th, it looks like it was introduced into the Senate, but that's the last action that's been done to it. So no, it hasn't passed yet. But all right, we'll tentatively talk about that more on the next call. So what else? What else we got? We got new layers. We got new metrics updated. We've got John and Dave Hamlet City in the distant future, but that would be awesome. We've got Polygon and Arbitrum and stuff like that. They exist. You can do it the hard way, which is to do it yourself, or you can do it the slow way, which is to wait until we've got more time to do it, and once the leaderboard's up and we vote on what to do next and things like that. We didn't hit on anything else. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll run through updates real quick, or reminders real quick. We've got stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that are all on Den. Tuesday is in the Dragon Chain layer. That's Super Happy Dragon Lucky. It's updates of Dragon Chain and Den.Social with an AMA and rewards for people that participate in that AMA. They also do highlighted content on Den if there's an article to talk about. And that's with Joe Rotes. He is the founder and the architect of Dragon Chain. There is Wednesday morning. There's a coffee meetup where John and I think next week, what did we say? We said it at the end of the Twitter Spaces today. I'll have to ask John, but we got a topic already. So I'll post that up. It'll be Wednesday. It's always Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. That one's open to anybody. So there's just like this one, there's a link at the top. But it's not a business meeting. It's a casual coffee meetup like you would with your friends at a coffee shop. And we at least start out around a particular topic and then drift from there. It's a fun little meetup. Swing by. There is Thursday, I already talked about, 11 a.m. in the World Blockchain Roundtable layer. There's World Blockchain Roundtable. Today we did climate stuff. Next week we're doing stablecoins, death of stablecoins, I think. So that'll be fun.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
Good one.
That's one because I'm not a trader really. I've traded tokens, I've bought things and I've sold things, but I'm not like a trader. So I've never had a reason to have a stable coin. To me, it's always like if I want a stable coin, I'll just buy it. I'll just have dollars, like US dollars. Like a dollar is going to be pegged to itself because it is itself. Anyway, that stuff we can get in next week on World Blockchain Roundtable. And then, of course, 3 p.m. Eastern is this meeting every week. Thank you, everybody, for swinging by. Thanks for all the help on Den. What else? Yeah, go be creative. Den's a big sandbox. It's a big playground. Do whatever you want and see how it works out. All right. That's it. Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now?